Netflix and Raw? Netflix and chair shots? Netflix and choke slams? It seems Netflix is getting Monday Night Raw starting January 2025. I'm sure by now all of you know the massive news that took place here Tuesday morning with the announcement that Monday Night Raw, WWE's flagship show for over 30 years, is going the streaming service route starting in 2025 in January. Raw is going to air live weekly on Netflix. Now, the details and everything are still kind of getting worked out, I feel, but the deal is worth over $5 billion over 10 years. That's insane. WWE, $5 billion for 10 years for Raw to be on Netflix. Now, this is going to be very interesting. One, you have a pretty good large demographic, of people who are pretty tech savvy, who can do streaming services. Most people have smart TVs. Most people, have the capabilities to do a Fire Stick or a Roku. Some people, even go the old school route, laptop, HDMI to the TV. Now, I do, as someone who has parents who are, older, and they struggle when it comes to sports, when it comes to football particularly, when it comes to the streaming services. I wonder how this will do for that older crowd, the older wrestling fans who, watch wrestling. They've always watched wrestling on TV, whether it be cable, basic cable, network television. And now they're going to have to transition to potentially, having to tune in Mondays on a streaming service. You no longer have the capabilities now as well to flip between channels. So, if you're watching Raw on Netflix, you now don't have the ability to change the commercial and hit that last button on your remote to go back to Monday Night Football or the college championship game or a baseball game. So that I think is going to take some getting used to, because I know during commercials I'll flip over to see what's happening with, baseball, football, hockey, etc. So definitely different, but exciting. There now has the potential to be no commercials, or if there are commercials, there's probably going to be similar to what Peacock does. You have a plan where you get your basic and you get your commercials, and then you have a plan where you get no commercials, and you probably get like WWE based commercials that we see for premium live events on Peacock now. Things are very interesting. Like I said, definitely opens up some doors. Netflix has done live specials in the past. They've done live stand-up shows. They've done golf tournaments. So to see Netflix go live, but every week for 52 weeks of a year for the next 10 years, that is very, very interesting to say. This is uncharted territory, I feel, for Netflix, having to have the longevity of going live week in and week out with a show. But they've done it a few times, so I think they have the support for it. Now, this is going to open up doors. This is going to open up doors for the other wrestling companies, particularly AEW. AEW, with Discovery and Max, now has the potential to say, look, we can be on a streaming platform. So that this could prove to be the shift for professional wrestling for the next decade to come across the globe, across all wrestling companies, potentially getting streaming deals and going on a streaming platform. Who's to say you don't see Impact or TNA now on Paramount Plus or Amazon Prime, or, look at AEW. They could be on Max and they could be on TNT and TBS. A lot of craziness, to say the least, there when it comes to Netflix on Raw. I'm excited. Let me know what you think about this. I think it'll be good for professional wrestling. I think it'll be good for WWE, and I think it'll be good for the fans, because maybe now we can start to see a dynamic shift. Maybe we start seeing a little bit more edgier Raw, or we go back to 2 hours. There's a lot of different possibilities here. As of right now, though, Nick Khan was on Pat McAfee's show following the big news. Nick Khan, essentially confirmed Raw will stay on Mondays for the time being. Now, if anything does change, there's still 10 and a half months till January of 2025. So Raw could end up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You never know. USA Network will get SmackDown, and the CW will get NXT starting this fall, and things will shift then thereafter. More breaking news here Tuesday. Tuesday was a hot morning. And you can catch me discussing all this here on my show, on Drop the Mic with Michael Davis on the Tobacco Road Sports Radio Network. As well, you can also catch me on the Tobacco Road Radio Sports Network Wednesday night, part of the Wednesday block of pro wrestling and fighting. As for another big news, TKO. Endeavor WWE merged. They created the super corporation of TKO. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is now on the board of directors of TKO. What happened today, ladies and gentlemen? Raw's going at Netflix. The Rock's on the board at TKO. The Rock even was on First Take and, hinted at potentially The Rock and Roman happening. But he likes to play the long game, he said. So I don't think Rock Roman happens at WrestleMania 40, which means Cody might finish the story. After all, just saying. Rock on TKO board is going to open up a lot of different doors. You've got the XFL USFL merger that just happened with him. So that's a game changer. So there's going to be some cross collaboration, no doubt, with the new USFL or XFL. Then you have the potential for The Rock and Roman to happen at a WrestleMania. You also have now The Rock having input when it comes to board of director items. Who would have thought 25 years ago we'd be sitting and talking that Triple H, Dwayne The Rock, and Shawn Michaels all have notable roles when it comes to molding WWE programming? Insane. If you would have told somebody from the 90s, watching prime attitude era WWE, if that was the case, that they'd have, these executive roles and they'd be, big wigs in the company, they would have slapped you and called you a fool. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. What an era for professional wrestling. The Rock being on the board of directors for TKO is going to be very interesting to see. I'm intrigued to see where we start to cross over, because The Rock has his hands on a lot of different things. Movie star, right? We know that. Former pro wrestler. We know that. Big with the community. We know that. Massive businessman. He's got energy drink. He's got tequila. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Not all of that you bring into the board of directors. That's incredible. So no doubt there's probably going to be some sponsorships and cross branding and, probably similar things you're seeing with the Ric Flair energy drink in AEW. Probably you start seeing, The Rock's product sponsoring different WWE programming, like you have Progressive and, what's the other big one, with Sony right now for Kill the Justice League. So intrigued to see where this goes. That's massive news. The Rock on the board of directors. More, I could keep going. There's so much news, ladies and gentlemen. Seth Rollins might be back for WrestleMania, seems. Also, rumors going around here that Okada might be WWE bound after all. A lot of rumors. We can't set anything in stone. Monthly Pure So reported that Okada might be headed to WWE. Fightful kind of broke it down and said, those are premature reports. If you listen to the show, if you watch the show, you know that I love a good free agent speculation. However, I don't get my hopes up for wrestlers to show up in certain companies. CM Punk, right here, wearing a shirt, get it with my WWE shop affiliate link down below. I didn't have my hopes up. Did I, in the back of my mind, say, oh yeah, Punk's coming to WWE? Yeah, absolutely. Front of my mind, I was like, nah, it's not happening. Like, it's not going to happen. It happened. Naomi, Trinity, possibly, we know she finished up with Impact, TNA, possibly also headed back to WWE. Mercedes, Sasha Banks, potentially also headed back to WWE, but everything points to her going to AEW. Love good speculation, but I'm not going to put all my chips on the table. I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket, so to speak here. Would Okada and WWE be the right move? I think so, guys. And I'll probably get hate from the AEW fans here. I love my AEW fans. I'm a big AEW fan myself. I'm a big pro wrestling fan, period. Okada and WWE just makes a lot of sense. they have the production value. They have the money they can put towards those entrances. They can make him a bona fide star. Right off the cuff, you can have him come in, take on Nakamura, Finn Balor, Bronson Reed. Those are names he has history with, right? That's not even including the names that you want to see him go against. I mentioned it on my show last week. Cena, Orton, Seth, Cody, Punk. There's so many, Chad Gable, right? Just to throw a name out there. So many different names that you could put him with that you may not have gotten matches for. Going to AEW probably makes the most amount of sense for Okada. He'll probably have a lot more freedom. He'll probably be able to, live in Japan or wherever he may live. But a lot of those matches, at least for the most part, outside of a few, we've seen. At least in New Japan, or we've seen some variation of it. But there still are matches to be had. I'm not saying that all of the matches are done. I'm just saying, feel like WWE would be able to give him that extra little bit of oomph. And you could argue, no, they won't, because look what they did to Shinsuke Nakamura. I would once again refer to, look at what Vince did to Shinsuke Nakamura. Look at how Triple H had Shinsuke in NXT, and then look at what Vince did to him slowly but surely thereafter when he was on the main roster. So I don't put that fully on WWE. I put that on Vince, and that'll stand on that. Triple H has done the opposite since taking over. He's tried to retcon a lot of those mistakes for talent, especially Shinsuke. We're getting captions, he's speaking in Japanese. We're getting those captions. We're getting animated, very manga styled art, anime styled art, manga. They're leaning into his culture. They're leaning into him. You're starting to see a different side of Shinsuke, and it worked with the feud with Cody for that month. So I'm not worried that they would ruin him. Look at Io Sky. Look at so many, wrestlers with Triple H as opposed to Asuka, where maybe now with Triple H, he might be the one to put that respect, on a name like Okada coming into the company. Really, really insane Tuesday morning. I could keep going on. There's so much more news to go over, but we've got the Royal Rumble this week, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the icing on the cake. All of this took place Tuesday morning. This is only the 4th week, not even, of 2024. Wrestling has been insane, and we still have a Royal Rumble pay-per-view Saturday, so make sure you keep a lookout for my socials at MOWM_podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube at MOWM_wrestling podcast. Please and thank you. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, please leave a rating, a review, whatever. It helps, grow the show to that next level. As always, thank you so much. Catch my appearance on Drop the Mic Wednesday. Catch my audio podcast on the Tobacco Road Sports Radio Network Wednesday night as well. And catch my Royal Rumble prediction video with Mike of Drop the Mic, with good brother Jordan, coming at you Wednesday as well. And of course, the recap to Royal Rumble Saturday, Sunday morning. And of course, my weekly wrestling show covering all things in wrestling this week. Thanks so much for watching and listening. You guys go out there and enjoy the rest of your week. And let's get ready for the Royal Rumble, baby.
Now they off with Mike. Now they off with Mike. Now they off with Mike.